Hi guys, welcome back again. This is Lockdown Therapy. My name is Julie Chiriba.
And my name is Kandi Anita.
And can you remember when we were here last time, we did an introduction on attachments where we defined what attachments are as emotional bonds we create with those around us, and we reminded you we're not talking about romantic relationships. We are talking about attachments as a whole, whereby how I attach to Kandi as my friend, how I attach to my parents, to my siblings, and also the romantic relationships. And today we're just here to continue with that, and I'd like to start off with a story. I want to tell you something, Kandi. You remember when I told you about this friend of mine who we became friends yesterday, and then today it was
Your best friend.
Hi, best friend. And and with time, not with time, in like a week, she started asking me, why aren't you texting me every day? And to me that was uncomfortable for me because first of all, I don't know you that well. It was just like, it's less than a week, and you don't meet me today and call me best friend tomorrow. So that was what was in my mind, and I'm trying to think about that person. Do you really think that's normal, like to just meet someone today and tomorrow declare yourself their best friend?
There's something wrong, but at the same time, I'm looking at it from a point. Maybe she loved you or was excited to see you. There are people you've never talked to, but when you see them, you're like, I wish they could be my friend. So vile ulimsalimia ukamwambia hi, akajua ni hivyo, mimi ni best friend. Nataki kujua.
Nataki kujua. Best friend. Okay. Also kuna mimi, I think looking back the previous relationships, and I mean the romantic relationships ones, and the relationships I've had in the past, like more than 3 years ago or so, didn't work out, probably because I attached faster than the other party. I was like, it's been, na sasa mimi ndio huyo msichana wa best friend. Like tumeka 1 month, niko all in
Nimesha 1 month.
Nime-exaggerate, sitaki kusema ukweli.
Nataki kusema 1 week.
Watu washtuke washinde msichana. But yeah, kuattach that fast, and then probably the other party is not there yet. So ndio mimi nina pressure na my love mingi na ako like unani suffocate. I don't know if there is someone who once told me I suffocated them. I have never cried like I did that day. I really tried. I was like, yani mimi, I am suffocating you, but at the end of the day, now I can look back and think like, where maybe kuna venye hakuwa na breathe.
I'm actually laughing because you see how you meet a guy and then you talk, and then maybe after 2 weeks aja kwa conclusion, and then unaenda kwa committee, unawaambia haya. Sasa acha niwaambie, mtu amenizoea, mimi na texting na unakuja kurealize, okay, I think I have a problem with that. Because after 1 week, how do you explain? Ushaanza kuuliza mtu.
What will we name our children?
Kwani wewe unangi life na mimi? Mbona uliziangi the hard questions?
Mbona tu unaniuliza what's my favorite color?
Exactly.
Mimi nataka uniulize what are your goals? What are your purposes? What children? Where do you want to build a house?
And then ile feeling ya kwenda service, and then preacher amepreach, and then naanza kufikiria yule best friend yangu kuna maswali sijauliza. Like your attachment unataka tu ku create haraka. So is there a problem with me wanting to form attachment so fast?
Yes, I think once you really think about it, once you remove yourself from the situation and put the other person's concerns into mind, it brings the concern that hapa kuna issue. Juu tumemit jana, like I'm still getting to know you. How are you this deep into the relationship? Yet there are some aspects about me you don't know. And once and coming to think about that, when I'm too deep into the relationship and the other party isn't, that's when you get hurt. This person, we are clearly not in the same page, so I'll get hurt. That I formed an attachment too fast. Like I was too attached too fast. And we didn't even get to know this person better. So now when that person isn't really in the same place with me, there's the heartbreak that is way inauma sana. And it's really, when I came to think about it, I found it was unnecessary, and I really remember evaluating myself, I think, from that point of view, like, this is not the first relationship, this is not the second relationship that has been an issue, this is probably more than the third relationship. Nimeambiwa wewe umezidi.
Got issues. Girl, you got issues.
So when I really evaluated myself, I found out that na kuna mwenye niko na hizi issues na attachment.
And also, when we're talking about it, I'm thinking there are also other people who are secure. When they don't care, wao tu wako tu sawa. Hawananga swali, hawananga anything. They're like
uattach, ukose kuattach.
Wako sawa.
Mimi niko tu.
I'm like,
hiyo ni tempting. Singine natamani kitu kama hiyo. Itakuwa avoidia, it avoids a lot of pain and hurt. Ndio. Juu sasa mimi sija-attach, wewe ndio una
attach.
And those people are actually very difficult to. I think I've ever formed an attachment with someone like that. And what was even harder is the fact that I think that this person really wants to attach to me, but they're not letting themselves attach. That's also an issue, because it's clear this person probably wants to be my friend. This person has feelings for me, but they are not letting themselves like feel it. Like, I think it comes from that fear of disappointment, the fear of pain and hurt, and all that. I think that sums it up as trauma. Trauma really does affect how we relate to each other. That's something I've come to learn, and I'm still learning. Like, if I went through trauma, even in my childhood, it would completely affect every other relationship I have. It will probably now, that's when it also depends on how I react to the trauma. I can choose to now form so many attachments to hide the fact that I'm struggling, or I can build up walls. That in a way that sasa mimi na attachment hatuwezi.
And then there are people who have built walls by they're claiming they are secure. And that's not true, because a secure person is comfortable making relationships, friendships. So when you build walls, there's a difference between walls and actually having boundaries.
True.
Boundaries where you don't pass here.
Yeah,
walls is where
ni kama bridge hivi, like utapita, lakini ni kama umeweka gate man hapo kwa bridge. Like hapa kuna vitu vingi nazo huku, kuna vitu utoki nazo huku. But walls ni kama ile wall ya Jericho, ile yenye ilikuwa extremely fortified. Hakuna mtu anapita, like you're not letting anyone in, and you're not letting anything out at the same time.
And it's not like you're safe. Inside you're hurting, or you're in a cocoon and you're comfortable. But with secure people, they are open, they're okay with forming friendships, they love everyone. But if you're building walls, it's more like you're scared of people, but you don't want people to know you're scared of them. Or you've been hurt and you don't want people to know.
People have this image of you, and it's completely not who you are. Deep down, you're small, you're struggling, you're in pain. But no one can know that, because me, I have walls. Like, it's my business, I'll deal with it. I don't like people saying that, like, my trauma, it's my business, I'll deal with it. It's not. We all need communion, we all need these attachments, as we said before. We are wired for relationship. God created us for relationship at the end of the day. So that's basically, all that we've described is basically what we call the attachment disorders. And it's like, they come in two forms, whereby there are these people who are
reactive,
in which there are these people who are withdrawn, the people that put up walls, those people that they don't want anything to do with anyone, they are living their lives, and you're probably there if you're that person. I think I've had that stage in my life where it's just me and me alone. And it came, I think it was when I was in Form 3, so I was in high school. And we tuliba mtihani.
Bado hujafika campus. Lakini sawa.
Sasa kuna wale watu walikuwa wakufikiwa na hiyo karatasi tulikuwa tunaiba nayo. Sasa jealousy ikawafanya watu seme. So when they told the principal, hey, that school was strict, kafukuzwa. Alafu, I wasn't in the best terms with the deputy. So when everyone was told go and come back, me, they told me, wewe mambo yako tumemalizana. Wenda, enda na ukiendanga. It's like she was waiting for an opportunity. And I remember, sikupata shule immediately, so that was like that term. That term yote sikusoma. And you can imagine nilikuwa chopi. Siekelei sidanganyi. Mimi wale nilikuwa number 1 ya ukweli.
Nilibia.
I remember that if I didn't know it and it was like 20 months. So sad. So when I was told I have to repeat the next year.
Okay.
Na mimi sio mjinga. Nina lose 1 full year. Nina lose marafiki wenye nilikuwa nao high school. Juu naenda shule ingine. So that was like traumatic for me. And I think that's when the first time I really sank into depression. And because of that, now I shut everyone out. Everyone. I remember all my friends.
Ulirudia shule bado? Ulienda shule ingine?
Shule ingine. Si walimenikataa kabisa narudi kufanya nini?
Na huko ndo alikuwa repeat.
Huko wengine walisema juu sijasoma that time yote siwezi enda form 4 na nilikuwa form 3. So niliamua nirudi form 3. I was sad. I was really sad, and now that caused me to shut everyone out. All my friends, I'm telling you, all of them, even the guy I was dating, unashanga msichana alianza mapema. Even him, tumemalizana, acha hizi ni stress zangu, and
vile depa alikwambia ndio pia ulimwambia story yako tumemaliza.
So for that reason I was like in this type of disorder, the reactive ones, where mimi na watu we are done. I'm not showing any emotions at all. I think no one even knew I was struggling at that time with that decision. And I also, my self-image at that time, it was negative. I hated myself for that. I hated that I did that. I hated that. Now I have to repeat. Like I remember ndio nikubali, it took me a long time. Ndio ni accept. I was like telling my dad, apana, I can even go to a day school for this third term. And then now next year I go to that school. And he was like, no, I'm not taking you to a day school. And for that reason, I landed into this type of the disorder, the reactive ones, where I've shut everyone out. I'm not forming any connection with anyone at all. I just want to be my own self. And it was brought about by that experience I've just shared. I don't know if you've ever been in that space where you've shut everyone out. It's just you. You're not forming any attachments at all. You don't even care about the attachments you had. They can go wherever they want to go because forming attachments. And I also think it was hard for me to form attachments because I was really attached to my friends back there. And then now I have to leave them.
Yeah.
I have to go and try and to form new attachments in a new school. So that was like hard for me. And so I decided I am not forming anymore. I'm just going to live my life. Yeah, and I lost so many friends. And I don't blame them, by the way, because I'm the one who shut them out. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been in that place.
I think I have last year. I was telling you I lost my phone and I didn't have a phone for like 3 months. 3 good months. Na lockdown ndo hiyo. And then everyone anaongea na people are communicating through the phone,
The
challenges, nini. Mimi niko hapo najaribu kushare simu na mamangu. It was bad. It was so bad. And then najiuliza mbona marafiki zangu wajakuja kunisalimia. Hakuna mtu amenotice sina simu. Unaget. Like I think at that point nili build walls. Nikajiambia, by the way, let situations tell you who your friends are. Maybe vile nilipata simu, mimi na memes, mimi na quotes. Lazima ni pass message. Unaget.
Kwani wale watu wakutoa nini feelings hapo kwa status.
Kwanza mimi wale nitumie hiyo. Hadi video nataka hiyo.
Mimi nikiona kitu nikienda kupost nione hii na inahusu situation niko siposting.
Mimi hiyo siku ndo nilikuwa nazitaka. Nilikuwa na text Steph, uko na hii meme? Niliona hii meme because I really had to use it. Ndio ni pass message. Uzuri sikuwa na date your time. So chali yangu at that time alikuwa
Jesus ndo alikuwa boyfriend full time.
I'm like, God nipe simu. Kama sijaiomba vizuri hiyo siku. Ile unambanga tu kwa umekaa hivi na God nipe simu. Ile tu unconsciously just pray. So at that time nili build walls because nilianza kujiambia like I don't have friends. People don't care. Na sikuwa nataka kuongelea issues zangu. Sikuwa nataka tu anione. Nilikuwa na feeling kama niko na space where kumbe I've been alone all this time.
And I thought I
had friends. So it was bad. So I've been in such a space. But say think nishakuwa mature enough, I'm like, it's okay if people don't communicate, and I don't expect so much from people.
Because we are all growing at the end
But
of
I'm
the
not
day,
doing
we're
it
all
from a point of niko na resentment. Like I'm okay with it. Ile tu
Completely.
ile ni sawa, if we communicate it's fine. If we don't it's okay, but si ati sanda kuona alafu nianze kusema Julie huyu yako ni graduation au huyu yako ni text. Hata si post like stay fire from a point of
I think I've ever
resentment.
done that. Ile asita post. Si hakunipost hata hakuniambia happy birthday. So I'm like,
But mimi najuzanga pia maboy wanakuanga hivyo yao tu.
we'll call them here and we'll ask them.
Kama wasipopostiwa nasikianga vibaya.
Hawajalingi, imagine.
Mimi naona kuna wenye huwa nasikia hivyo ndio honestly I think even guys wanataka ku feel appreciated. So if they don't, hata wako na attachment issues.
If we all have them, I think it's also if ever sits in a place and think I'm just okay. I do not have any issues. That's when they will come in when you let your guard down, when you feel comfortable. That's when they'll start setting back in. And then there's also these clingy people. Now brings me back to my story with the relationship. The way I was like, 2 weeks into it, I'm already building a house with you, and I'm bearing children and stuff like that. Now those people are the ones we call the disinhibited social engagement disorder. They are the ones that are clingy, they are hyperactive. They are those people who are just everywhere. And then they are the ones also you will know today and tomorrow they'll call you best friend. Like they trust so easily. They have no boundaries, in short. Hakuna boundaries. So you know kona walls. Hawana kitu yote. They will tell you personal stuff and you've known them today. Okay, that's also not very normal. You might be having this kind of disorder. And one thing about these disorders, I learned that they are hard to diagnose in older people like us. They are better diagnosed in people age 5 and below. Yeah,
Also thinking of babies, because
Yes.
them they react so fast when they see their mom, so it's easier for you to tell where they lie. But for a grown up, it's not that.
It's not that.
Anaweza hide, but for a child, you will know.
And these disorders, they don't come from nowhere. They stem from somewhere. At the end of the day, there is a root. For example, when I built up walls, the root was because I was depressed. I was going through something and I shut everyone out. So you have to, like, trauma and attachment issues, they are very linked, because if you think it's two-way. If I went through a traumatic experience, for example, abuse, or emotional abuse, sexual abuse, the physical abuse of any kind, that will make me probably not want to form any attachment with everyone, because from the root up, being brought down by the people I trust. So I won't trust easily. My trust, I will build up walls around me, because first of all, there's shame trauma associates itself with shame. So that's one of the reasons why people fear speaking out about their trauma of any kind, because I feel like I'm ashamed. Like I felt I was ashamed because I'm going to repeat now. So I was like, my friends don't need to know this. If I cut them off, no one will know. I'll just go on with my life. So trauma and attachment issues really are one. And also, if probably I'm not trusting anyone, if I can't go to anyone because of the traumatic experience, therefore I'm more vulnerable to now the trauma itself. You know, it will happen to me, but because I don't trust anyone, I'm not going to tell anyone, so I'm going to suffer alone. So it really goes hand in hand. And for you to deal with these issues, you also have to deal with the trauma. That is associated with them. And that's basically it about the attachment disorders. We've shared our experiences. Like, have you ever been that person who is calling people best friend on the first day, or building a house on the first date? You've gone with a guy, you already met their mother in your head. Are you the one that builds up walls, who does not want any form of attachment?
Also on the reactive disorder, we talk about people who give you gifts. You see, like, you meet on this date, kesho amekuletea gift. I remember when I was doing ministries, a girl came up and said, "Hi, how are you doing?" "Oh, Anini." The next Sunday, akaniletea bangle. Na like alikuwa primary but sasa nilikuwa na get yetu amebambika na mimi anaona I'm a good friend, but now I'm putting it from someone with our age. Naona like we meet on this date, then the next time ashakuletea gifts, ashakufanyia kila kitu, ile tu anakuwa too extra and you go like okay, I don't know you that well, you see. And this happens especially with guys where they do a lot and they fail to communicate. They form an attachment with you in their heads and they think you can be a good girlfriend. And then kidogo nakwambia you've been using me. Okay.
You say that if you reminded me something.
For real?
There was this guy who in church. Now, it started one day I just sat next to him in church. Then now from the next Sunday henceforth, he started sitting next to me. And then he asked for my number and I was like, I don't want to give you my number. But kitambo, I was like, I'll give, if you ask for my number, I'll give you. You just have to talk to yourself. So I gave him my number. He was calling me. There's a day he called me 16 times and I'm not exaggerating. And then I'm clearly telling him, no, me, I'm not in the same page with you. And he's like, it's like in his head, he has already formed an attachment. I remember I used to run away from him. Like, church imeisha. Nakumbuka nikijificha na gari hivi. Imagine, nikienda home, he was following me until home. He painted me. Like, alinichora. Alinichora mara mbili. Na ya kwanza nilimwambia asinichore tena. Ya pili akanichora hadi akaniweka kwa frame. Nilikuwa na stress. Akanitumia tena pesa.
Sasa stress ilikuwa gani? The fact that
ilikuwa mimi kwa nini naogopa mtu anaweza ni kidnap at this rate. Juu mimi nishasema no lakini akanitumia 1000. Alafu nikakaa nikajiuliza akivenye tunakuonanga kwa church na si kwa bad au kaini kama hii pesa umetopata kwa urahisi. Alafu unamtumia tu from nowhere. Nilimrudishia nikamwambia please usinitumie pesa, nikamblock. And I'm just thinking, hiyo si normal at all. Unafuataje mtu hivyo na fujo? And it all comes down to being whole on your own. Like, if he was from a point of wholeness, from a point of complete, ningemreject the first time. Na akubali tuju. Sikumreject
mwanaume kungangana.
Hapana.
Lazima ajaribu.
Hiyo ni kusumbua.
And then the funny part is they make us seem like the ones who are clingy. Lakini wow.
Wakiamua kucling, they can really cling. Hizi disorders zinatu affect sisi wote atago. So it's good to know if you're struggling, if you are able, examine yourself. So we've mentioned those two different disorders. Examine yourself. Look, if you are struggling with either of them, or if at one stage of your life umekuwa hapa na ingine uko hapa, work on being better. Work on, and we'll talk about how to go about it now in the next session.
And also, like when they go about the attachment disorders, but you let them ask questions like, how do I take yes and no? When someone tells me no, how do I take it? Like that will tell you what kind of an attachment, type of an attachment you're having. Is it secure? Is it anxious? Or is it disorganized? You see, because if you're secure, you'll be like, okay, amenikata, and it's fine. Ajanibei a gift na? It's fine. But ukiwa disorganized, ama ukiwa this anxious person, you're like, mbona anipendi? Hadi unataka, wao ni watu wa nini? Closure. Closure. Wale watu wakuja kusema ati, I know we broke up, but I want to know what is the problem. Let's see, same ati mtu secure atauliza. But kuna
unataka problem. Labda hata wewe ndio problem na unajua.
Na unataka tu. Ni kama there's a time I was having a therapy session and then the client wanted me to point out and tell her like bad stuff. Like tell her unakwanga hivi na unakwanga. Because I feel I'm always the problem. I just want someone who can shame me with it. And you see, so like it's good for you to just check yourself even before you go to someone else to point out the problem. Like Julie uko na shida. Wewe mwenyewe unakwanga already you should realize.
That self-evaluation is important. Every aspect, we said in every aspect. Even now, evaluate your friendships, evaluate your attachments. See, am I attaching too much? Or niko sawa, niko secure. Huyu mtu akienda leo aniache. My life shatter completely. Like it's okay to be hurt. Like it's okay to feel hurt when people leave your life. But kuna ingine si hurt. Una sink deep into depression. Haujielewi, like your world goes dark. That isn't the normal kind of hurt. That just tells us probably you attached too much to this person. Yeah, and
you don't have maybe boundaries.
And maybe you don't have boundaries. You're not guarding your heart. Like God tells us to guard our hearts. He knows. He knows the way we heartbreak hearts. And He doesn't want us to be hurt at the end of the day. So let's guard our hearts. And I think that's it about the social disorders, not social.
The attachment disorders.